you, Cathaoirleach, and I think, Minister, you kind of half answered my question there, but I'll go back and I'll kind of rephrase it differently. The particular situation and the vulnerabilities of unaccompanied minors is of concern, and it is of concern because I've spoken to people about this, and I am aware that Ireland has best practice model around providing care of unaccompanied minors, so who are without their guardian or their customary caregiver. How has this service been supported to make sure that children arriving from Ukraine on their own get adequate assistance? And that was asked to me recently by someone that's very kind of much involved with the refugees. My other one I want to ask you is, we know the heightened risk of child trafficking during the war or during migration. What supports are in place to make sure that this does not happen in Ireland, and if it does, that it is quickly picked up on? And that's kind of my main question to you, I suppose. That would be the main one. Just to your department now, I have a few more. Will I go ahead, Minister, or do you want to answer them?
I'll come in on that quickly.
Okay,
look, I think that's a really important question, Deputy. Thanks for putting it on the record. So up to this point, 80 unaccompanied minors from Ukraine have been notified to TUSLA. So TUSLA has a presence at Dublin Airport and engage with when an unaccompanied minor is identified. Of those 80, I think 35 have subsequently been reunited, and I think it's 55 have been taken into care, either residential care or foster care. So that is it's not an insignificant number, but we believe we have the processes in place. We're there in Dublin Airport from 10 a.m. to 2 a.m. TUSLA is there. TUSLA would obviously be, I suppose, TUSLA officials, social workers would be aware of the, I suppose, things to look out for in the situation where there's suspicion of maybe an incident of child trafficking. There's a senior social worker present in Dublin Airport, and TUSLA then can also receive referrals if somebody else has a concern about the relationship between someone arriving in the country as well.
Okay, no, thank you, and that's good because that has been asked now several times, so I'm glad we got that clarified. And just, I suppose, just one or two questions to your department. I suppose many of the children arriving are younger. Many of the parents, often mothers, tell us that they can't look for work, because I'm very much involved, as you know, with our own refugees in Carlow, and as they do not have childcare support. So what is the department doing to make sure that childcare is provided for children arriving from the Ukraine? And of course, look, we have the language barrier, which we're all, you know, I know that the Minister has been working on this. And what additional supports does the department have in place to help parents to support their children, recognising the awful experience that parents themselves have gone through and their own suffering? Because I see myself, we there a few weeks back in Carlow, Ukraine's Easter is different. Our Easter is a few weeks after, I think it's a week or two after ours, and we had a lovely party, you know, and I want to thank, I just have to, you know, I just have to say for, I'm sure across the whole of Ireland, but in Carlow, there where I'm working with the community and SideCap and Net Fox and all the local authority, and the people of Carlow have really stepped up to the mark. So there was a party, but one of the people had a little kind of like one of these bangers for all the world. You know the way, like it just popped, just our mistake. And you could actually see the fear in the women and the children. And like it just happened, one little small incident, but you could see it. And that's why I was even saying to myself, like, what supports would there be there for the children and the women? Because it is hard, and we have to be very mindful that, you know, things like that, you know, they have to be very affected when their husbands or their brothers or their fathers are over fighting a war. So maybe you might come back to me with something. And again, I just want to say, you know, the work that, you know, is being done is really welcome. And another question I want to ask you, because I was at another event there recently, and a bus load came to Carlow, which was fine. But what is the system when the Ukrainians come into Ireland, say, and how do you decide who goes where or what happens from there? There seems to be a bit of confusion, because I know in some places sometimes a bus could arrive. Now everyone works around it and it's not an issue because the communities and the department, like everyone's good. But I don't know if there's still that proper communication to know how many is coming every day or how many is coming in, or, you know, or going to a certain area. Are you finding that, Minister? Maybe you might come back to me on that. Thank you.
Thanks, Deputy. On the issue of childcare, Ukrainian children are entitled to access the ECHE programme, the 2-year free preschool programme. Obviously, in different parts of the country, the number of places available for that vary. So in areas where there is pressure on, let's say, ECHE services, we work on, it happens with the city and county childcare committees in terms of identifying what supply is available. In terms then of the NCS, the National Childcare Scheme, which, as you know now, provides financial support for accessing childcare, we encountered a legal problem in terms of allowing Ukrainians access that. That's going to be addressed in a forthcoming piece of legislation. The Department of Justice is bringing a kind of an omnibus bill to deal with a number of issues to do with Ukraine. The recognition payment that I spoke about earlier on will also go into that particular bill. So we hope to have that issue dealt with soon in the next number of weeks, that there will then be access to the NCS. In terms of supports for children, and I take on board the points you're making, TUSLA has compiled a list of 116 community contact centres across the country, and these are local family support services. They're either funded directly through TUSLA, provided directly by TUSLA, or they're a TUSLA funded service, and they are available to support Ukrainian families in that particular area. So that is available. In terms of how do we decide who goes where, I'll be honest, Deputy, a lot of that, it depends on the availability of accommodation that day, and that's not. It's not the, I suppose, the most organised answer I'd like to give you, but it is just the reality of the situation, that is often a key factor in determining where people are allocated that initial accommodation.
Okay. No, that's grand. Yeah, thank you.